Morning guys, James here from Sunseeker Southampton down in a very sunny Ocean Village. Behind me here, new listing to market. Really excited to bring you this one. She is a Manhattan 66 from 2019 and she's called Lancelot. Behind me here she is on this cracking alongside berth. Now the berth is by separate negotiation potentially available. As you can see here, Harbour Hotel in the background. It's a cracking spot with this lovely linear finger mooring. Plenty of space to come in either way round. Just starting off here, we'll have a little look around the outside. 2018, very late build, 2019 model. This one is loaded with all of the toys you could possibly want. She was originally delivered by us down to the Med. Currently with her second owner from new, brought her back here to the UK in 2021, and she is potentially dual tax status. So this is really rare for a boat like this. So that basically means for the next owner, as long as we're careful where the completion happens, she can either be UK or EU VAT paid. One or the other option will then disappear after that happens, but it does mean the boat can go back to the Med without having to pay secondary tax. Really important in this day and age, post-Brexit, where the tax rules around yachts have massively complicated. So, just having a look outside, you can see these massive glass windows running there all the way from the midship's master cabin right up to the bow. We've got 4 cabins in these, very popular charter boat, although this particular one is privately owned. And you can see things like the optional fiberglass opening hardtop up there. We've got a Sleipner Vector Fin 0-speed stabilizer system and the largest engine option, which is the MAN 1200 on shaft. We've got proportional bow and stern thrusters. See those cracking windows up there into the saloon as well. Very, very nicely kept, this one. She was prepped for the season back in February, March this year, so she's had engine serviced, anti-fouling, polishing, what have you done. She's washed off every 2 weeks by a local gardiennage company that also look after a lot of our new boat stock down in Poole, and she is absolutely impeccably maintained. It's a family owner, used with kids, exploring the south coast here. And just walking around the back here, 395 Williams on the back there. It's an optional discussion with the owner, who is happy to take that off and put on his next boat, or potentially negotiate into the deal if you want something like that on the back. Platform itself, this is a hydraulic high-low system, as is pretty common on boats like this. Will lift 450 kilos. Just walking down the finger pontoon opposite here to get a chance to take in the side view here, stood back a little bit off the dock. We are hoping to get out shortly and we'll try and get you some running shots of the boat with the drone, as we like to do. So colour scheme, she's finished in that classic Sunseeker Rail white gel coat. We've got the black boot top stripe there running just above the waterline, black anti-foul. And then we have a black camper canopy arrangement that encloses the aft end of the cockpit here when you wish. Just coming back round here, see illuminated name on the back, which can stay with the boat if you wish. We have the optional beach club arrangement on the back here, which gives us the little drop down seat that's in this area here. We have a cushion, drops onto the seat. You have to imagine yourself using this with the tender off, and then above it we have the griddle and the little prep area here. Obviously all folds away, very easy to use. Top level locker, this lifts up, and then we've got space in the back here for storage. A crew cabin we'll have a look at in just a sec, and then in this one, I'm not going to do it now with the single-handed on the camera, but that lifts pop up and there's a clever shower arrangement in there as well. Obviously, having started off life in the Med, we have things like the letterbox passerelle system in there, and part of the platinum docking Med pack we have things like the winches on the back here. We have the secondary cleats down the bottom there. It is very, very well spec'd, this one. So you'll notice we've come up here onto the starboard side. We do have a separate access from either side, as is pretty typical with the Sunseeker. Certainly if you're going to boat here in the UK, it does allow access here, both sides, onto the finger pontoons. So scanning round now, we're into the aft cockpit, and you've got this lovely big centerline teak table. Obviously the leaves here open and close to give you a little bit more of a coffee table feel. Little supports there to stow away when not needed. Everything is kept covered up when not used. Fastidious owner, say, so Very, very nicely presented. And we have a Sunbrella type light upholstery here in the cockpit, just scanning around so you get a flavour for the general condition. Optional bar stools here, they are removable, so they come out of the deck there, and that gives you a little bit more working space around the table if you want to run some director's chairs there. And then you've got the option for dining out here, obviously dining upstairs as well as interior. We have some LED lighting here around the cockpit, low level on the side decks, and up top here we have the feature lighting as you see in the smaller Manhattans running through to the larger yacht range. It's all dimmable to give a soft tone in the evening as required. Seats obviously sitting up to this sort of stand-up bar arrangement. In the corner we have an ice maker and then a couple of storage cupboards here for provisions, little space there for prep, and it flows really nicely then in to the saloon. Just before we go inside, we'll just have a look here. We have a proper staircase up to the Flybridge, nice big handrails either side and rubber treads, so it's nice and sturdy there to come down forwards or backwards. As is pretty typical with the Sunseeker, we've got the battery switches when you first come in through here, platform controls and what have you. So very easy to power the boat up when you first arrive. Little touches like off the winches there, we've got the line storage here in the lockers. And then you can just scanning up the deck here, you can see the teak laid side decks, a further upgrade. You see how shiny this Joker is, real nice luster to it, say having been looked after extremely well. So we're just walking down the deck here, just scan the camera around and you can see the height of the windows here on the shoulder height pretty much, lets a lot of natural light in downstairs, and then the rails here right up to waist height. We have the fiberglass bulwark for the first sort of foot high deck, it does make it feel very safe, and you can walk down forwards on the boat. Easy to bring drinks and what have you up to the foredeck. We're just walking past, this is a side door taking you through to the lower helm, also nice for a little bit of ventilation. Couple of steps up and we're onto the bows. Now obviously a very nice zone to spend time away if you're in a busy dock, certainly in the Med. This is quite a private area. We have a nice U-shaped seating area here with a fixed pedestal table, teak top on that, and then underneath here there is a pull-up stainless steel framework to give you a clamshell kind of sun canopy arrangement tucked behind the backrest. We have some storage underneath the cushions here, and then centre line in the middle here we have a lovely sun pad with the lift up backrest cushions. Just put all the cushions out, everything is kept off the boat when not in use, hence why it is so clean and tidy. She does obviously have, as you can see, the fittings around the outside, the protective covers package, so you can leave them out if you so wish. Cup holders everywhere. We've got some lockers in the top here for storing away things like the mesh window covers for up there, and then up forward, upgrade stainless steel anchor, as you can see there, on a galvanised chain, single Lumar V8 winch. Pop the deck locker open here, you can just see the space down below. Nice little handle on the locker there, allows you to tie the fender lines off, and we've got plenty of space down there to stow 8 fenders. Owner is just in the process of arranging to have the teak cleaned. So that's really the last job left on the boat for the season. Obviously the LED lights we mentioned earlier run all the way up to the foredeck here, so the boat does look very pretty at night. So let's head on back down here on the port side deck, just again so you can see overall condition. And then we'll go and have a look inside. So you notice the doors are all stacked back here on the starboard side. There are 4 panels, 2 fixed here, there's a centre opening door there, and then we have a fixed glass pane there over on the starboard side. And that takes us into the galley. Now we have the wood floor area here, Cadoran hardwood walnut floor, and then the galley set up here over on the port side, L-shaped, with an upgrade on the refrigerator. We've got 2 freezer drawers underneath. Owner's just been away for a few days on the boat, so stacked full of provisions. I'm not going to dig through too much, but we have a very nicely spec'd upgrade here, everything nice quality Smeg, 4-burner electric ceramic top there. We've got the convection microwave oven and lots of storage for provisions. We've got a slimline dishwasher in here, pan drawer underneath, cutlery and what have you, and then up the top here we have the Royal Doulton crockery set. There's an extractor in here, so very well thought out. We've got plenty of space for provisions. There's a bin in the top there and a large single bowl sink. You can see the boat is practical. The owner's obviously using the boat away for several days at a time, so we've got all the usual coffee machine, toaster and what have you you'd expect to see on something that is well and truly used and enjoyed. Over on the starboard side, again a little bit more in the way of drinks fridge here, and then we've got the Dartington Crystal, obligatory, and then to finish off the AV system. So you have a Sky TV system, we have a Blu-ray player there, and then a full Sonos system with Sonance speakers. So we had a zone up on the bow, we've got some speakers down in the aft end here, they're up on the top as well, so you've got plenty of AV capacity. We're linked up to a Pepwave onboard 4G router system as well, so that allows you to use it away from the dock. Now the wood just scanning around here is beautifully kept. Obviously the boat, having done a mixture of boating here both in the UK and in the Med, hasn't done too much in the way of a sun fade, and it is satin black American walnut here. Lovely beautiful grain, and that takes us forward now into the deck saloon. Now you can notice the glass windows now, so we mentioned these earlier when we were walking around the outside. You can see just how much light is coming in. Fairly grey day here in Southampton. And we have a linear sofa here on the starboard side, so this is finished in a grey leather. And on this side, for a bit of contrast, we have a soft fabric just coming on that pattern there. Loads of scatter cushions, obviously a mixture of these for inside and out. Very tastefully dressed. And a fixed tabletop there for dining. Over on this side we have full AV package, so there's a high-low 55-inch Samsung LED TV in there on a high-low mechanism. All light over there in the corner, blind system here for privacy on these, and then we have a mesh windscreen cover that goes round the forward glass for privacy and sun protection. Moving forward from the saloon, we then have this observation seating area opposite the helm, room for a couple of bodies on there, some handy storage here in the lockers, space up here for charts, and then if we spin across you can see the lower helm. Very nicely equipped, obviously with the helm and co-pilot seat there, finished in this light grey leather with the Bentley-esque stitching. Nice attention to detail, and they're on a stainless steel pedestal here, drop down footrest, made by Besanzoni, beautiful Italian luxury manufacture. So let's sit up at the helm now and get a chance to see exactly what the captain would. So in terms of visibility, we have glass windows running all the way around here, panoramic vista. Not often on a Flybridge yacht that you'd be driving inside, but it is handy to know you have the capability to do so, or perhaps if you're running in the night time and you want to run on your instrumentation, everything is nicely laid out here in front of you. We have the obligatory weighted Sunseeker steering wheel there, and then just running across the nav equipment, we've got two Simrad NSS Evo 3 12-inch chart plotters here. They're multifunction displays, so we can use a broadband radar here, 64 nautical mile open array radar. We've got some multifunction displays up here that display anything on the NME A2000 network. The Sleipner stabilizer panel here, proportional bow and stern thruster controls, obviously handy right next to the throttle controls here, and then we have the autopilot, and then over this side these are the two man bonning displays for the engines, and then the CM8 monitoring panel. So this does our temperatures, pressures and everything on the engines in terms of telemetry. And then on this one we've got fuel, water, tankage, alarm systems, bilge pumps and that sort of thing. Tilt steering wheel, so you can obviously adjust that to suit. Wipers and washer functions and what have you, all nicely easy to hand there. And you can see with that side door access how easy it is if you're running the boat short-handed, getting out onto that side deck as required, or at least communicating with your crew if you are having to drive from inside. Obviously all this kit is repeated upstairs, so you've got the capacity to berth from either position. Now accommodation split on a 66, so we have two stairwells. We'll go back to the master to finish off, but for now, forward here we go down to 3 guest cabins. Nice easy stairs, we've got the handrail here And again, just looking at the woodwork, everything is beautifully kept. We come down to this central lobby. Before we go in the cabins, I will just show you underneath the stairs here. We have lift up storage space for a hoover or some tools and what have you. You can see obviously the LED lighting on the stairs, probably flickering around a bit with the camera. And then 3 guest cabins. So these 2 cabins centre are equal status. So we have twin fixed beds in here. Lots of clever use of mirrors and LED lighting, so it feels very bright and airy in here. Opening port lights up on the wall, 22-inch TV there on the bulkhead with the DVD player and what have you here in the wardrobe. Come across the hallway. So this one, very, very similar. You can see the textures up on the blind there. And you can see the detailing of the wood grain in the doors here, everything made in-house for Sunseeker. There's a full CCTV system throughout the boat, so you'll notice as you're walking around we've got a few cameras here up in the cockpit, down in the engine room and what have you. So we have 3 bathrooms, this one being the day head, which also services the 2 middle cabins, and you can see the rain shower up in the roof there. We've got a separate handset, Tecma vacuum flush toilet system, hand basin, and lots of storage cupboards in the back and in the sides here. Boat is very well thought out for extended time on board. So that takes us then through to the what would be cabin number 2 on the boat, the VIP guest cabin, centerline forward double here. 1.5 metre wide bed. We've got some storage drawers in the end, just scanning up slowly so you can take in the space in here. There is a skylight stroke escape hatch up top there. We've got the cushions up on the bows at the moment. You can see opening port lights either side. These are lockers for storage tucked up under the decks either side. And if I just spin round, you can see a 32-inch TV there up on the bulkhead, as well as little vanity station, and then over this side, a wardrobe for bits and pieces. Safe up the top there, and there is another one of those in the master cabin. Now this one of course is an ensuite, so this has got its own shower stall, much the same as the bathroom we just saw in terms of appointment. Synthetic stone used in this one on the bulkheads and on the countertops there, giving a very bright, clean, fresh look. So let's head back up the stairs here. Mixture on the, just worth mentioning on the plugs there, mixture of 3-pin and 2-pin UK EU sockets, easy to swap those out depending on where your home mooring is going to be if you want something more permanent. And we've come back into the centre of the boat here to access the master cabin. Now it has its own stairwell. This is a really nice feature. You've got kids or guests on the boat, obviously partitioned a fair way apart here, and it does give a very private owner experience in the middle of the boat. This is the quietest part of the boat. And we come down here away from the slapping water on the hull. We have a little window here for ventilation. And here we are in the suite itself. So centerline bed again. We are facing obviously forward at the moment. We have the optional table and the 2 seats here over on the starboard side. Big port light there to let some natural ventilation in as required. We've got sideboards either side of the bed, obviously running a full reverse cycle air conditioning system, which will give heating and cooling, so best of both worlds. Big 55-inch TV there up on the bulkhead, as well as a sound bar tucked up in the ceiling there. So over here on the port side of the boat, we have the swing out seat with a vanity top there and some storage drawers and what have you. If I just spin round behind us here, so we're now facing back towards the engine room to partition a little bit of noise here. We've got a shower stall, fans are humming away here, you have to excuse the noise in the background. Electric heated towel rail up on the wall there. And then over here, you have a pretty decent size walk-in wardrobe. Just come back over this side, try and give you opportunity to see the cabins from all angles. So in terms of power, we've got 27 kilowatt upgraded generator system, so that will run all of the onboard 220 volt systems, including the stabilizers. We're carrying 900 litres of water, 4,000 litres of diesel, with a typical range of between 250 and 300 miles. So let's pop the floor up here and have a look in the engine room. Nice to do this before we take the boat out, just as it will be a little bit cooler in here. Obviously a centerline deck hatch here. You'll notice there's no threshold on the door here, so this is a deck drain flush, as is quite common on the Sunseekers these days. And we'll just climb down the ladder here, and then you can have a look at the main machinery space. So just stand back. We're looking forward over the port engine at the moment. So all the engine control boxes up there, we've got filters with changeovers there. Lovely big exhaust system, obviously all heat lagged here. It is beautifully kept down here. So the boat's been serviced earlier this year. On the aft bulkhead, these are all the pretty typical individually labelled circuits, both for the mains and battery pad systems, and then we've got a multitude of different chargers and what have you. Just looking across at the starboard engine, you can see the fire suppression unit over there on the forward bulkhead, and some further charging, fire flaps and what have you up there on the intake system. It does mean that the boat is fairly straightforward to code should you ever wish to put it into charter, and you can see the access round in terms of serviceability to get at things like pumps, hydraulic power packs and what have you is fairly straightforward. Centerline in the bilge there, we have the two big engine intakes, and then we've got things like battery systems and what have you tucked underneath the floor here. Generators over there on the port side outboard, easy to get to for servicing and what have you. And then behind this bulkhead here is the crew space. So just going to head back into the cockpit and we'll take a look before we get going out to sea. So accessed off the platform here, you can see we've got these decent sturdy gates either side. The door opens aft as you see, and that takes us down then into the crew space across thwartships in the back end of the boat. Now it's obviously a working area, so we've got a nice practical hard floor here, two single beds and some basic storage facilities. Most owners this sort of size using it more as a storage area. You do of course have an ensuite heads here. Nice if you've been in the sea and what have you and you want to use it as a family owner operator, somewhere for the kids or what have you to wash off before they go in the boat. We have laundry facilities here with a washer dryer, storage in the top here for towels and what have you, and then you can see the two single beds there. If you are running for charter, it does mean you can run captain and perhaps a stew as well. So just spin round, you can see obviously very nicely appointed here with the walnut cabinetry, so if it is used as an ad hoc fifth cabin on the boat for guests, nobody feels like they've been done out. In the cheap seats we have a nice little window on the back here which does give arguably one of the nicest views on the boat. So that's enough about looking round. Let's head back up into the cockpit, a few bits to stow away, and let's get out on the water and show you what she's like at sea. So we've just come off the dock, spin round here so you can see the space we have to work with. Plenty of room all around the boats. These are the platinum berths as MDL call them along here, so you've got plenty of space in and out. Boat's coming up just on the 300-hour mark running from new, with the owner doing the majority of those hours here on the south coast of the UK. Obviously see with the V8 engines very quiet, we can have a sensible conversation here with you as we're stood in the aft cockpit with obviously all the noisy engines and what have you tucked behind the floor here. Now obviously with the doors shut we then have all of the noise behind the glass partition here, which does mean if you're running the boat for extended cruising and you're perhaps sitting inside, it is still very much a lovely place to be. So we're just departing. I'm going to kind of have to do some ropes and fenders slightly different today. We've got one of the skippers out with us so that we can concentrate a little bit more on walking you around the boat. So we'll be able to get the drone out as it is quite windy, an opportunity to see what the boat's like running. So check back in a bit when we off down the Itchen River to open water. So here's 60 seconds of the boat running at speed with the drone from a number of different angles. You can just see coming up on the stern here, boat into a nice banking turn off to the port side. You can see with the stabiliser system turned on just how flat that turns, despite weighing in excess of 35 tonnes. Now here we are just picking speed up, nice cruise here around 18 to 19 knots. Typically burning, I would say, around 250 litres an hour at this sort of speed. Quite normal for something of this size. Chance now to see the boat running down the starboard side. You can see runs very flat. We have very little trim tab on at the moment. And a nice top-down view of the boat there, just making another turn before we take a final run up the Southampton water stretch that we're using today. And here she is, wide open throttle, struggling now with the drone to keep up. Boat runs in excess of 30 knots, flat out. She is an absolute beauty on the water. So here we are up and running. We're doing about 20 odd knots at the moment. Just give you a nice little wake shot behind. Hope you enjoyed seeing what the boat was like with the drone just now. It's going to get a bit windy. I'm just going to walk up the side deck. Bit fresh up here, but I thought I'd just bring you up on the camera so you can see what the boat's like here, running along at speed. Lovely, lovely place to spot dolphins from and enjoy the view. Just heading back into Southampton here, so we'll be a bit fresh, excuse that on the mic. Look, the sun's even come out behind us. Just head on back down to the cockpit. Look at that wake shot. So pair of V8 engines, 1200 horsepower piece. She is an absolute pocket rocket, this one. Fantastic to drive, very, very easy to manoeuvre close quarters. Just take you up on the Flybridge while we're running. Have a little look at what she's like up here. You can see obviously the dome system up top there. Just going to see the old police boat doing some high-speed manoeuvring here. A cracking shot that is. So we've got lots of seating up here, obviously a big opening teak table here. You can see the leaves, what have you. We've got storage underneath all of the cushions here, loads of space here forward up to the helm itself. We've got a fully equipped wet bar here, so we've got an ice maker, top loading cool box, barbecue and the sink there. Full accompaniment of safety kit, which would be by negotiation with the owner depending on what kit you may have on your own boat from before. And then worth noting on this particular one, you see the track in here, it doesn't actually have a tent arrangement, so that encloses this forward end. You can see the zipped in sections around the front of the hardtop here, and that gives you an outside but covered driving position here when the weather's not so nice. Obviously, as we saw in the drone shots, the roof can be open or closed. It's electric, so you can stagger it back at any particular position to give you a little bit more sunlight when you require. LED lighting built in here onto the roof structure itself, as well as the low level here. And as we mentioned earlier, we've got a full Sonos with Sonance speakers up here. Just coming forward here next to the helm, we have a large sun pad arrangement. There's a little acrylic pull-up windscreen there to give you a bit of protection from the wind if you need it, but we do have this lovely big deep set windscreen there, which does keep the wind noise to a minimum and the spray off on not such nice days. And then across here at the helm, so we've got a couple of 12-volt charging sockets, and then the usual engine instrumentation. You can see either side of the two 12-inch NSS Evo 3 displays here. So these are MFDs, they'll do your depth, radar, AIS, chart plotter functionality and what have you. And then we have down here the multifunction displays, as we saw at the lower helm, autopilot control, a second CM8 control there to monitor tanks and onboard alarm systems, and then the tilt steering wheel thruster and throttle controls over there on the starboard side. We've got the stabiliser system on at the moment. We do have quite a strong breeze over on our port side, but the boat's staying absolutely dead rigid. They're a vector fin, which means they will work basically at anchor as well as underway. And the difference with a gyro is these do also work up at speed as well, which is something you don't get with a gyro. Nice little drop down view there of the tender. So being a 395 Williams, you get the benefit of that extra seat here alongside the helm as well as the bow seat, and then the 4 seats across the back there, giving you the option to sit facing aft or forward depending on whether you're towing water sports kit, what have you. Very, very easy to launch and recover there with a hydraulic swim platform as you need it. So there you have it. So we've had a pretty good look around this afternoon. We'll just be heading back in shortly, so I need to go and get my ropes and fender set up. The all important asking price. So this one, let's say being tax paid, she's gone on at £1.95 million. So you do have the option whether to complete the sale in northern French waters, somewhere like Cherbourg, in which case she would maintain her EU tax status. Or if you wish to keep her here in the UK on an ongoing basis, we would complete here alongside in Southampton, and then you would be fully UK tax paid. Best of both worlds at the moment, gives maximum flexibility for a future owner depending on where they want to do their boating. Lots of photos, video and further spec information available, so if you'd like to know any more, as always, please do get in touch directly. It's james@sunseekersouthampton.com, or the mobile is +44 7747 686 587. Hope you enjoyed coming out with us today. Really good chance to look around this one. It's a very exciting boat. Don't think she's going to be around for very long. We look forward to seeing from you soon.